Oh, but it's not Ben Woods. It's not Tiger Woods. It's the king of the woods, Hacker Hameen, and his sidekick, his partner in crime, Lumberjack. Chop him down, Sill. It doesn't matter how big of a man you are. He's going to take out those knees, and he's going to be dropping the elbow on top of you as we light the fuse on this AEW Dynamite Iron Mike review, infidels. Y'all. Yeah, man. I was trying to get I was trying to get Evander Holyfield just to show up on the show, and we didn't announce him or anything, just to see if we could get it done. But apparently, I don't have the stroke. But I don't need him because I got the best backup guy in the business right here. Actually, I'm the backup. He's the lead in this shit. He's the one who's going to sell the most merch at the end of the day. But it's my boy Chris Silvio. How you doing, Susie?
I am the front man, and I'm doing great, man. It's good to hear your voice and hopefully warm your cold black heart a little bit today. Yeah, man, I'm chilling. I'm going to be a little bit different on the air this week because I don't have a multitude of kind things to say about last night's show.
Yeah, I mean, I got a lot of things that are like
I got a lot of problems with you people.
It's WrestleMania week though, still. So happy WrestleMania week to you, my brother. And I know you're and I know you're looking hard. You're looking well. So he's in great shape. Sending me hard body photos the other day, which had me motivated. I'm trying to put that work in. So I'm trying to
those guns.
Big, yeah, man, and doing my Stevie Richards fitness and. We're going on vacation next week to DR, so it's going to be you and MSG. So I'm excited to get out, hopefully, and maybe get quarantined, never come back from there ever again. That'll be the end of me. Maybe leave my whole tribe of Haitians or something like that. Who knows?
So you actually booked the vacay. I know you were threatening, but you actually booked it.
Yeah, well, we had Jamaica booked, and then some bullshit with the flight fell through, as I love Jamaica the most. And but once we saw the resorts that we stayed in Jamaica, this company owns ones there too, and the beaches where I just got to be in the water with the ocean 4 to 6 hours looking. This is what a hacker's going to be up to his chest in rum, and then up to his chest in the ocean, just looking out into the ocean, thinking about all the things that we got to do. And that's how I'm going to meditate for the next 4 days with my beautiful wife, number one. And it's going to be a good time post WrestleMania. So that'll be next Thursday. I'm taking off through the following Monday. So we're probably going to, they actually suggested for the Friday locker room, Dr. Ted and Silvio together, which I think would be great, but I've been waiting on that. You guys got bumped from the main because it's hopefully I still got to book it. This has been a long time in the making. Strangler, Steve King, and Stevie Richards. And if you want in, I can. It could be 3-way with Silvio, Stevie Jr.
I suppose Stevie maybe gets a little priority booking, seniority. And, we'll see what happens.
They've been asking for that, but I love that pairing too. And there's no reason why we couldn't have a Friday locker room without Stevie and I, and it could be you and Man Beast. But that was just I know if I would have booked the other, I like both matches on paper. Don't get me wrong. It's just if I would have booked one before the other, I would have heard about it. I would have booked myself some heat right there. So.
Hey, speaking of booking, I'm sure you've heard about it and probably discussed it on some of the other shows. Did you hear the comments recently regarding TNT telling AEW no more surprises?
Yeah, man. And then Booyah Grandma, within 24 hours of the show, they announced Mike Tyson. And what do they put out for a press release? Not a graphic or a video teaser that they cut together. The actual press release on a piece of paper that says announcement he's coming. Like
a photo of it, or was it a
photo of the fucking yes. Dude, just asinine, and against it. I mean, to me, that's a move for me to target who I need to target at TNT and be like, you obviously don't have this guy reined in. He's costing you money, and when he costs you money, I'm the guy you listen to fucking tighten up your ship, So
yeah, all about costing people money.
I do. I have blown budgets. I closed 2CW. I closed Crossfire Wrestling. I closed DCW. I mean, you want this guy out? I'm the fucking. You want the real cleaner? there's no, there's nothing meaner than Hacker Hamina right here, baby. I will close this bitch out. So that's how it is, man. But we did have a good time earlier in the week. Khalil last week was on, and he sends his love as well, man. But I had a really nice outreach, actually, to stooge off, and he might get hot that I'm stooging our biz, but whatever. I've been having all the stress, and trying to get everything going. But last night, Sammy Callahan reached out DM, and he wants to do something for Impact Attack, and just ultimate respect for that guy's creative and his work and what he does for his own guys and has in Ohio, man. So some cool stuff coming, man. And we got a lot of big guests hopefully coming for the Horsemen and all that. So some switch ups and as we re-platform, but we're gonna have fun today. Sil and I, MSG, shout out to MSG working the big board over there. But he'll hopefully be able to get back next week.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great to hear about Callahan. He's definitely a unique talent. So
yeah,
I'm sure any contributions he can make here will make this even better product. I've got some news today, little personal news.
Yeah.
I was gonna just tell you this off air, but I figured I'd discuss it with everyone because we always claim that we're the real show, right? Wrestling reviews by real wrestlers.
Mm-hmm.
You hold your integrity. You and I have had many disagreements on it where you're like, no, it's my platform, so I have to say what I feel and what I mean.
Right.
So keeping in the vein of that, this week I found out I was finally approved for my disability and Medicare benefits.
Okay.
After 2 years.
Wow.
So
that dude, I feel sorry to jump on you, but that just fucking makes me feel great of being able to exhale, of being like, I'm Pops and I try and carry, I enjoy carrying the weight. Like, yeah, obviously it's my little thing of pride, but dude, that makes me so happy for you. Congratulations, dude.
Thank you, buddy. And it's been a 2-year process.
Yeah.
And to anyone not familiar with how disability works, God forbid, should you walk out tomorrow, get hit by a truck or some shit, right? You don't just apply and they say yay or nay. So I got denied 3 times. And each time gets a little more demoralizing.
Sure.
Now, where does this money come from? So I've been working since I was 15 years old. I've been a taxpayer. I've been a registered voter. I've been a model citizen, never committed any crimes, never jailed, nothing but a model citizen. So each paycheck, money comes out of my income to pay for SSI, to pay for Medicaid, things like that the taxpayer pays. So I just felt so dejected all this time, man. I'm like, I'm 36 years old. I've paid my whole life. I've never so much as taken one unemployment check, and I need help. And I felt like the help wasn't coming. And
right.
I got so down and frankly kind of pissed off at the government in our country. Like, how could you not hold me up right now when I've held you up my whole life? Like, please do something.
We've seen this with our very good friend Michael Hayes too, obviously in a whole nother level. And here you are living it as well, man. And I know it was a lot on you.
Yep. So after the 3rd denial, I hired an attorney. Shout out to Morgan & Morgan. If you ever need them for something like this, they're your dudes. They're fantastic. We finally had a hearing in February of this year with the judge where basically I just told him what's going on. He reviewed my medical records. Fuck it. I guess I'll let it out there. My medical records show a significant cognitive decline in some areas. You guys probably don't hear it on the air because thankfully the one thing that really stayed with me was wrestling. I don't know why the universe chose to do that, but I could forget, what I did 15 minutes ago, but goddamn if I don't know how to tell a fucking headlock story and book a territory.
Right.
So he looked at my records and I was really nervous about it. A month later or 2 months later, I get the results. And now I can finally, breathe a little bit better and exhale. Because it's been a rough ride, guys. Hameen's been here through it. And, I'm telling you guys this because you, the audience, has been a part of this journey for me. When I signed on to this show, I was at one of the lowest periods of my life, both with my health, my sanity, my mental health. And I've just been fighting so hard for 2 years to improve and keep hope alive and make this shit happen. And this podcast has been a fantastic outlet for me to do that. And frankly, something I look forward to every week. So I thought I'd share that with everyone and you, of course. And thank you guys. That's all I can say. Thanks for having me and for all the support. I'm still alive and kicking, and I ain't going nowhere soon.
Oh, well, thank you, Sil. I love you, brother. You know that. And you can go back and watch those shows, those first shows where there's 1,000-yard stare of blankness. And I've seen a lot come back because of it. And maybe it's just the small things we focus on. And you're a master of your craft. So 10,000-hour rule, it's second nature to you as much as it is breathing to know how to tell a headlock story. But all the small things in the interim, I know that can be frustrating, and you deal with that, man. And I want you to keep working hard on your rehabilitation therapies that you need to do, any exercises, the work ethic. I would have turned you down. I may actually send them the picture that you sent me of yourself the other day, and they'll be like, there's no way this guy's got anything wrong with them. But no, dude, I'm very happy for you, and not in the fact that, hey, you've got a brain injury, and but now that's a little something less that you can worry about where the future is, man, because no one's gonna question. And if they got a problem with that, please come fucking see me. I'll be glad to straighten you out real quick, and you'll get on the right side of things. B says, man, Mike Hayes has to fill out a form each year for the government and has to explain if his condition has changed. Surprisingly, his leg still hasn't grown back. It's strange after it got blown off in Iraq. How you'd think, you'd wake up and be like, oh, I got a little more back today, but just didn't work.
It's a shame, man, the way that sometimes our citizens get treated. I don't have an abundance of nice things to say about Mike Hayes, unfortunately, but that's terrible. He lost his leg fighting for our country. Fucking take care of the guy, please. Yeah. Well, let me ask you this, Sil, and I don't know the timeline, and I don't want to make yours into a political debate, but do you think, because of Democrats in power and office this last time, or maybe this has been going on for 6 months during Trump time, and this is just an isolated case, but it's well known that humanitarian and socialist services get more approval and funding. Do you think that's why it was greenlit? 100%.
Okay. I don't want to make a bigger, thing of, it's only because of that. Now they're giving out the money. Everybody apply for disability. You know what I mean? Right. But
everybody that listens to the show knows that you and I probably ride on different sides of a lot of political debates, but it's nothing fucking but love. And yes, I can certainly agree with you on that point.
Okay.
For sure.
I had a big shakeup today on an improv dude on one thread where you would have been proud of me because I wrote 4 terrible responses and I never sent any of them. I deleted.
Look at you.
Yeah, that was my
baby boy growing up over here.
Well, I don't want to tweet, dive, apologize, repeat. I don't want to be the guy wearing my own shirt. You know what I mean? Oh man. But we're gonna have a good time today, even though there is a lot on this show of just like what the fuck kind of moments. The other thing was we have Jericho on Stone Cold's podcast, where Stone Cold reaches out to Vince twice. What do you think it'd be all right if we had Chris Jericho on? Vince says, yeah, sure. Which people are like, he's saying that because he doesn't give a fuck about AEW. He sees that they're a rib and that they're no competition at all, even though their product sucks too. Then Jericho clears it with Khan. Khan does the nervous, I guess so, but it's with Steve. And Steve and I have always had it. And he goes, in his quote, he goes, Steve and Chris and I are friends. And I was like, oh my God, dude. Like Khan is fucking friends with Stone Cold, hanging out, fucking going shooting pigs out on the fucking ranch in Nevada. Like bullshit. Just like these delusional money mark things, bro, that keep creeping up, or even what's on Impact, and even things where they don't know how to billboard correctly at all. Next, we'll get to Tyson, but he goes, next week, Mike Tyson is going to be here as a special guest enforcer. Let them billboard the match. Why wouldn't you have fucking Jericho at the end of the promo call out? He goes, you fuckers want it? Because the one dude took a swipe at Tyson, Dawson or whatever the fucking, call them out, make the match, and go, and Mike, I want you as special enforcer. Fuck yeah, I'll do that shit. And fucking instead, Shivani gets to make the match and billboard it. Dude, it's like, forget about the performances. It's shit like that me as an executive producer, I go, what the fuck is going on where these guys backstage? And even the fact of taking a picture of your press release does not mean doing the press release with a graphic, two different things. And announcing Mike Tyson after TNT told you no after Sting and how you did that shit. Now you're, and after they call you Booker of the Year, this shit is fucking kindergarten level decisions compared to the ones that you and I can make on producing a show. So it's starting to get maddening watching these morons think they're the fucking captains of the universe.
I won't jump on the moron train with you, but I will play along here. So with them saying no, don't do it, and then them announcing Tyson the day before, do you think it was a half-hearted attempt? Like if your parents told you to clean the whole house, but you're like, fuck you, and only clean half the house. Do you think that was where AEW was coming from? Or do you think they were playing by the rules in their mind when they announced him the day before?
Here's what I think. This is Jericho. And I think it's Jericho and him being buddies, and there's things with the legend thing that Tyson's camp might have been wanting to tie him into. And they said to Jericho in another stupid decision, which was a terrible, there was some jokes in it, but it was another apologist promo for not doing the right business out of the gate. So now the inner circle are baby faces, and he's trying to make it. And I apologize to you fans. When I heard those words, I was like, what the fuck? Like, dude,
like that one, huh?
So bad. Oh my God. So this is another bad condescension, turning them babyface. They have to go with it. And Jericho goes, we got the opportunity to get Tyson. He's about to get a lot of shine. Let me get a shine off him as a babyface because he's over right now. That's going to be the best way to do it. So at the last minute, they booked it like that because Jericho's smart enough to fucking hop on the train. No other reason aside from that I can see why they would bring him in, because he wasn't promoting nothing. Mm-hmm. And the only thing he had was his Legacy Fight League shirt on, and I think that the alignment of that is what caused this. I think Khan's bad booking and Jericho's knowledge of how to get himself over in a quick window by getting a shine from Tyson and then probably having him on his podcast is a smart business to do, even though it's shotgun terrible and makes everybody look like an amateur.
Let's see if we're on the same page on this. I have a feeling we might be. So Mike Tyson's around. If we were going to use Mike Tyson for one special event based on everything we learned from last night's show, what do you think would be a good thing to do with Tyson for this one event? Not next week, but in the future.
The thing to do with Tyson is you want to have a match with him in your ring more than anything, probably with Jericho.
That wouldn't be bad. What I was thinking was have him be the referee or the special enforcer for this blood and guts match. And we advertise it well ahead of time, similar to what Vince did when Tyson was the special ref. But instead, give it months and time to buy pay-per-views.
Instead, what are they doing? Next week, he's back as the enforcer on the outside. So now they're whoring out in a small thing. Even the enforcer on the outside is a big thing. But if you do it here and then the week after, now you're overexposing Mike Tyson, who's a fucking draw that you only want to see, like Haley's Comet coming through, bro.
How about this? They announced Tyson last night. He did his business. Mm-hmm. We don't announce him for next week. Let's pretend that never happened. And during Jericho's match, one of the guys interferes. Tyson comes out, drops him, and says, no, you guys aren't playing this shit. I know you got blood and guts coming up in May. I'm going to be the man there that makes sure that this shit goes in line. I'll be the enforcer.
I think, but they didn't get to make their match. Right. Tony Schiavone made the match on an announcement. Tony Khan's telling me now some more bad booking decisions inside my ear, and I'm going to put it over. Okay.
One more area I want to point out before we get too deep into
And
this.
Shaq, gone. Did you see the hot clip I put out yesterday that El Plaja did for us with Crazy Bone laughing his ass off at Snoop's frog splash?
Poor Snoop, man. You don't get no respect. Okay, so last week's TV, we got the exciting, what's the word? Not re-debut, return of Chris Statlander.
Yeah.
Out of the machine, bang. Okay, so you're the booker. After what we had last week, what would you do with Statlander last night?
Quick get over match on maybe on Nyla Rose, to be honest with you. Like
anything else that you I agree with that, but anything else you might have her do?
She came out with the best friends.
Let's just pretend that didn't happen.
Okay. Who did she have heat with in that match? Penelope. So there's got to be, that's where your heat is, right?
Have her go out, win a match, and cut a promo. I'm happy to be back. Yay.
Yeah. I mean, do I trust her on the way? Because what did they say? It's 3 best friends. Oh, and alien. So, dude, this girl is got sex appeal. Like, we don't need to do the stupid boop on the nose thing. However, there is alien gold there in the fact that there is a little Anunnaki money on her because if we have disclosure at the end of June and July and she's doing the alien thing, there is an opportunity there. Or she just goes, guess what? I'm a shoe alien. Here's my blood test, RH plus, and I have a lot of hot alien sisters on my other Earth planet. Now that'd be a fucking great swerve. They're like she's from what's Wonder Woman's the Amazon fucking guild there.
I just heard Jenna Van Muscles walk into the house in the background. I just want to say for clarity that I do not advocate Hameen's comments about hot alien women.
I can get canceled for hot alien women now. Oh man. But Jenna Van Muscles and her would be great in a clique together.
Hot cyborg versus, as you say, hot alien.
What maybe hot alien is her cyborg is like her C3PO, except C3PO is bad as fuck. Instead of Van Muscles.
That makes the R2 sounds.
Yeah, she's both Chewbacca and fucking C3PO at the same time.
Oh, Lord.
Oh man.
Yeah, one more news topic. I'm sure you don't watch it on cable. Are you aware that John Cena is hosting the show Wipeout on TBS?
No, I know them. The Miz was.
It's now John Cena. And it airs on TBS, and it's routinely advertised during Dynamite. So that means that in some capacity, John Cena is now part of that Turner programming family.
Well, he's out of WWE, man. And WWE doesn't care. I mean, the only thing that John Cena would do that'd be even smarter is to go to NBC now and pitch whatever he wants to be. I think John Cena, they'd fuck it up 3 ways to Sunday. But there's no home improvement spot right now. You know what I mean? Like there's no Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Like how can you really develop a show around John Cena that is a slight laugh track, but that's decent. You know what I mean? Like that's his in there. That's the only real wrestling tie that he's got back until they go back to LA in WrestleMania 39, right? That's there. And then he'll be dropping a movie. Him and Batista will be part of it. Fucking, and then other people will try and jump ship as well and what's going on. And the Marine 9 will come out or whatever.
See, I'm alone on this. I said the same thing to Jenna, and you're not catching my drift either. Are you aware of how Hulk Hogan signed to WCW?
Thunder in Paradise opened the door.
So Hogan was shooting Thunder in Paradise, a TBS show.
Okay. Eric
Bischoff and Ric Flair met him on the set, had some discussions. The rest was history. NWO, big money return to WWE. John Cena is now working with TBS. He hasn't been active on WWE programming in 2 years. It's not too far of a stretch to think that, and that motherfucker would move some numbers You put him against Omega or something like that, with John Cena being the bad guy. You don't want to be like John Cena.
We got Hogan as a heel. We've never had Cena as a heel. Is this time for Hollywood Cena?
Could change the fucking business. Imagine instead of Christian, God bless him, if that was John Cena.
I'm with you, Sil. I'm with you. You convinced me. I'm on your side. Do you think Bischoff has pitched that exact thing?
Fuck yeah. Hell yeah. He's pitched Cena. He's pitched Punk. Those are the two. One of those two guys are the ones that would make
Cena would do it more than Punk would.
Mm-hmm. Hands down. But still, I think those two carry similar weight.
Yeah, I agree, but you can't get the same story. You can only get epic mark matches, Punk versus Mox, Punk versus fucking Penta, whatever the fuck. Like, where on the other, you get a whole legacy built on John Cena turning heel after being baby the entire time, redoing the Hollywood thing.
How good would that be?
It'd be excellent. But
like, look at Roman, bro. How great his heel shit's been.
But then it wouldn't be Cena doing it. It'd be Shivani billboarding it all in the middle of the fucking show, and Cena wouldn't have to cut the promo or nothing. So John Cena's the bad guy now. It's Sting. Like, oh fuck.
Hey, so let's say Tony Khan said something like, "All right, John, we'll give you $3 million a year for X amount of dates." Mm-hmm. Would Vince pay Cena double that to do nothing?
No, I think Vince will send him to try and bankrupt Khan, because did Hogan go and fucking take the money and big money contracts and and then the numbers aren't moving just because it fucking is. If you're going to fight the same war the same way, why would you expect a different outcome?
Very interesting. I like it.
So
we'll see. If he shows up, you heard it here first, 4/8/21 at 1:40 p.m.
Well, very good. I like that insight, man, for sure. I don't even have the notes up here, so I'm gonna have to get that going.
I took some haphazard notes, but we'll kick this thing off. We probably don't have the numbers because our numbers guy is at a master control board right now.
They were at 700,000 last week and 500,000 for NXT. So overall, they were all down to 1.2 million, which means they lost 100,000 from the week before combined. And that is 8% of your audience. So we've had an 8% drop off in the week before WrestleMania.
Yeah, that's fucking something, man. I'll preface today's review by saying I had some medication switches, and one of the side effects is irritability. I don't know if that had something to do with my perception of last night's show, but last night was the first time since we began this podcast that I stopped watching Dynamite in the middle and switched over to NXT. So I wonder if any other viewers did the same.
I had both. I mean, I just caught the last 15 minutes because we had a Horseman meeting and I was pretty blown out mentally myself. So I watched kind of both back and forth with the chick Raquel and going over and the shitty 6 match with the Bucks. But something not shitty. Here's our triple threat, baby. That's right. Them DCW boys are back. My man, Beast, El Sucio, and good old Ben Hameen.
Hell yeah. I wasn't sure if I was going to get a chance to watch, so I didn't say anything ahead of time, but I was able to watch the show for the second time ever. This was the second ever AEW Dynamite that I've watched. And so I thought it'd be a good time to get in, help break down the show. And if anything, also get a chance to talk to my boy Seuss, because it's been a minute. So looking forward to breaking down the good, the bad, the kayfabe.
Of all the great shows they've done, my friend Ted McNaylor chooses last night to watch.
Well, I mean, actually, I didn't think it was that bad.
Okay,
but maybe y'all can fill in some more context.
You're going to be the normal Silvio role then on today's program.
Oh, well, good to see you, Beast. Thanks for jumping on, man. Last minute being in the chat. We had great numbers this morning on the Friday locker room. Almost at 70, I think, live. We're about 25 now, so appreciate everybody who's kicking in the chat room. And even if you're missing us later, wherever you're hanging with us, this will be up on patreon.com/Hameen Media Group for free. So you guys can hop over there, as well as if you're already here at Ben Hameen YouTube channel and Hameen Media Group channel, double broadcasting, so we can back up while we get everything else set up for the next move. So y'all, appreciate you guys.
You got your notes up on me, or do you want me to start with some play-by-play?
You can go ahead, man. Set it off.
All right, so we kick this night of action off with the Hangman Adam Page, one of my personal AEW favorites, versus Max Caster from the Acclaimed. They pulled a couple segments. I want to say the match probably ran around 12 minutes, and we saw Page over with his buckshot lariat after a bungled attempt to hit him with the boombox that Page threw on the floor earlier in the match. Manbeast, you're the new man on the block today. Break this down. What'd you think of this match?
So to give you some insight as to the bubble that I live in, this was my first time seeing Hangman Adam Page. I've heard the name, but I don't know anything else about him. So I like that. I know you were saying how Tony Schiavone does too many things to put things over, but I thought he did an excellent job putting over who he was, why he was important, and why this match had stakes as him being the number one contender. So I thought that.
I love Schiavone. It's just the moves they make where he gets to billboard the match instead of Mike Tyson and them accepting on the mic. Like Jericho should have made the match. And like, Mike, will you be the enforcer? Yes, I will. And fucking then, but instead it just comes out of like the back through Schiavone, and he's got to do his best with it. I like his voice.
Yeah.
I mean, will you do the rest of the show in Mike Tyson accent?
Yeah, I'll do my best to the.
Okay. All right, sorry, Ted, for my co-host stepping on your toes.
Oh, that's all right. I think for the first time really seeing Adam Page, I'd say the one thing though that I guess with the criticism is I really didn't understand who is Adam Page. What is he as a character? It just seems like a guy, and I thought for the stakes that they had laid out with Tony Schiavone, at least in the very beginning, he kind of picked up as the match went along. It kind of almost felt like at first he was kind of just going through the motions. Like it almost seemed like there's a step back in intensity for whatever reason. It seemed to kind of pick up as the match went along. But I'd say that was probably the two things that stood out to me was one, the just not really knowing who he is as a character, and then two, at least from the beginning standpoint, just him taking a minute to really kind of turn up the intensity.
He's kind of a stone cold character more than anything, but with more sex appeal, I guess. And he's done the righteous thing. He's done the mixed tag thing and been marginalized. I like these the tag team. What's the kid's name he fought again? Caster?
Max Caster, yeah.
Max Caster. The kid's rap thing was good in the beginning because he's showing that it's timely. All he needs is 2 or 3 little bars. Joe Biden, and then they're about to swear and yoke the mic. Haha, that's the bit. We get it. That he's going to lose because Hangman Page is higher up on the chain, even though they have done the spot with the boombox. This was a good match, I thought, too. I like that this match set it off because I like everybody who's kind of in it. However, we have a lot of young tag teams that are kind of like hip-hop-esque that these guys get lost in the mix. I like when they did the rap video just outside before, like a quick 16-bar thing. I think they need more of that to separate themselves, like a little outside of the arena. The entrance thing is okay, but they're going to become a one-trick pony, and Hangman Page going to ride them all the way out of town. Beast, Hangman Page has come out on a horse more than once. So
that's good. I do like that.
Beast, I'm glad you asked that because I'm incredibly familiar with Hangman Page. I worked with him years ago when he first came into Ring of Honor, and I've watched all of his AEW bouts. Hangman Page was booked kind of as the heir apparent when they started. He was the guy that they were telling you one day he's going to be the champ. He was in the first match against Jericho to determine who the champ would be. He had a great run in the first year with Kenny Omega as a reluctant tag team partner, and Hangman was hands down the coolest guy on the show. He was drinking beers. He had the stone cold vibe. He was a badass cowboy, like a loner. He did his shit. He only teamed with Omega because he had to. Now I have the same question you do. Who is he? After all of that happened, for some reason, he started getting bumped lower and lower, and now we see him opening the show. Then they did a wacky angle with him in the Dark Order where they did a bunch of comedy vignettes. The Dark Order had like a teenage girl crush on him and was trying to get him to join. So now Hangman's caught between this guy who used to be a serious singles competitor to half a comedy thing with the Dark Order. I don't know why, but all I know is they need to get Hangman out of there and start that upward ascent. They had a built-in star on their hands, and he was cool.
Yeah.
I mean, you know this.
They
You
cool him
can't
off.
teach
There's
cool.
no doubt about it. No, the guy gets it
You're
fully.
cool, you're
I mean,
not.
and just like Stone Cold, when Stone Cold used to do a moonsault to the outside of the floor, it's very reminiscent of the. But no, there's money written all over the guy. This was a decent shine match for this kid Caster getting a match. I'm not like getting a match with Page is everything, but people like Page. They want to see him push the right way. I mean, all I can say is he's kind of in the Mr. Perfect spot. Never at the top. Gonna give you one of the best matches on the card. People are mad entertained by him, but where do we go from here? You know,
He's
like
got to win. He's got to be a champion of some kind.
Commit to him. Yeah, you got to commit to him.
And I'd say certainly not splitting focus. If they're on one end saying, now this guy's a future star, main eventer, and then on the other hand, he's doing comedy vignettes backstage, then what does the audience have to take away? They don't know what to think. And so, and not to say that, you might disagree, but not to say either option necessarily is wrong. I think he could probably get himself over either way, but you can't do both. You have to pick one and lead into that fully. And
the other thing is he's one of the original guys they signed as a vice president. Wasn't he? Like he's in that original, I think he might be. I think he might be one of the VPs, bro.
Really?
He was Cody, Bucks, him, Omega, and fucking Hangman.
I think Page was just the hire. I don't think
he
was EVP. And this Max Caster guy, before we go to the next one, he's got a lot of potential, and I usually speak pretty highly of Caster. Unfortunately, that match last night exposed a lot of Caster's greenness. Just watching his body language, the way he fed into a lot of things, and some of the bumps he took. Like Hangman gave him a back suplex on the apron at one point, and Caster took it weird and had his feet in the air where he could have kicked Hangman. So I see a lot of rookie errors in there that they need to iron out before they throw this guy in front of potentially millions of people. He's got tons of talent, but we got to protect our guys and make sure they're ready, or we're going to come across looking amateur.
Speaking of protecting guys, I'm surprised it hasn't been brought up yet. What did y'all think about the kick out after the Nuck shot?
Who did that?
That was in the match with Adam Page. Yeah, he got slid the Nucks by the guy on the outside when the ref was distracted.
Yeah,
hit him with the Nucks, and then he kicked out. Which I'm all about using the Nucks as a threat, and I feel like it could have been so seamless to bring in the Nucks, make it seem like he's going to use them, stop short at the last second, almost hitting his manager. Then that's where Adam Page could have come flying in, drop kicked him from behind, boom, smashed heads. Then from the outside, did his flipping finish, and that way you don't bury the Nuck shot while at the same time still getting all your shit in.
Welcome to AEW, bro, where you get hit with the weapon shot 80% of the time. In our minds, almost 100% of the time is the finish, unless it's a main event.
It's one of maybe 5 things people at home can actually relate to. People know what it's like to get hit in the face with something hard. People don't know what it feels like to take a body slam or a suplex or whatever.
But here in AEW, it'll be heat spot, juke the ref, kendo stick from the fucking heel on the baby, 1, 2, kick out. Fucking on what should be the go home, only to go another 4 minutes of get your shit in and not sell the fucking weapon to do a dip and end in a roll up instead of fucking heat, weapon, cheat, get rid of it, pin it. You know what I mean? Where that's for our everything. And we know that's where the psychology is. Almost every weapon shot or low blow that should be the finish that people go, he fucking cheated, is kick out and doesn't mean a fucking thing here. That's where Booker of the Year doesn't know anything about what he's doing, bro.
But isn't there, you got to put some responsibility on the wrestlers too, though.
Yes, absolutely, 100%.
Then why are guys doing it?
Because they can do what they want. As long as the agent
can do what they want. Anybody can do what they want, and then the next week you're not going to be on my TV show, and probably the week after that if you keep doing what you want. But what they want to do is not the right fucking things. If they're going, dude, you hit me in the head with the kendo stick shot, I'm going to kick out because I'm that strong, and then we're going to finish with a roll up. You're not all elite. You're barely fucking competent if you don't know that the weapon shot on the cheat on the heat spot is the fucking go home.
Beast, let me ask you this. You and I have worked together many times, one of my favorite opponents. Let's say you and I are having a singles match. When the match is over and you and I return to the back, what is our goal as far as the fans' perception of you and I from when the match happened to when we leave? What perception do we want to give the audience after our match?
That they saw, I mean, essentially we elevate each other in a sense, and give the illusion or the presentation that it was an actual athletic competition, and both of us gave our all to try to win the fight.
We both walked in and left looking good or better than when we walked into the match. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
That's how
absolutely.
You and I probably had 100 matches, and that's how we handled them. So to both of you, after that match last night, do you feel that they achieved that goal?
I just knew that the kid was going under before the bell ever rang.
Did he look better than he did last week or when he walked in?
I would say,
did he get anything out of it?
And maybe this is my bias. I feel like it would have if because I feel like on the finish now, if he ever uses a weapon again, who cares? You know what I mean? So I felt like he was lowered, which is okay because it was really more of a match for Page anyway. But I felt the Max Caster guy was lowered, but Adam Page was elevated, is what I feel happened here.
Yeah, heels look stupid.
You watch all the shows. Did Page get more over in your mind after that?
Page was more over a little bit. It's not a huge win for Max Caster. The shine is getting to work Page in a singles. And meanwhile, we're splitting up our tag team instead of letting them work fucking whatever. And their boombox spot got botched, which makes heels look stupid.
Yep. So there we go.
Tony Schiavone welcomes Death Triangle. The Lucha Bros and Pac comes out, and Schiavone asks that they will receive their tag team champion shot against the Young Bucks next week. Before they can say anything, out come the best friends who say they remember what happened last year when Death Triangle attacked them. Pac gets on the mic and says, I know what's going on. They want a shot at the AEW World Tag Team Championships. He says, but they aren't worthy. And Trent says, they just want to let them know the boys are back in town. Boys are back in town. And there's an alien. Boys are back in town. And somebody's got to get to the gym because they look like shit.
You think they're going to buy that song next?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what would it sound like hypothetically if Pac were to do a Mike Tyson impression?
If Pac was to do a Mike Tyson impression, all right, these types of bagpipes, we large and freaking huge. That's tough to do a list with.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That's been Light the Fuse. We'll see you next week.
You got to do a list with a Scottish accent. Not that easy. Not easy, but
we'll work. That was a good try, though. I liked it.
Yeah, better than I could do.
That was a good call right there on the fly.
All right, so what do you think of this thing?
Did you all get the sense that this segment felt like it was they got their time cut right before the segment start, like right before they went out the curtain? I just felt like it was short. I thought it did the business. Like it made me interested in seeing, this contest happen at some point in the future. I also say the pyro from Death Triangle, just that presentation, like immediately, like I knew, even though I knew Pac or Neville, whoever, I didn't know the other guys with them, but these guys looked important. And so I like just the presentation of them and their look. I think it could have benefited from maybe a little more meat to the segment, but it was short and sweet to the point. And the most important thing happened, and that's the business got done.
Yeah, I mean,
I like them.
What?
I like Death Triangle a lot. I like all three of the members. I just was a bit confused. I ranted about this last week. Some weeks they're baby faces, then the next week they're heel. So clearly now they're back in the heel role because the Best Friends are a babyface tag team, one of the top babyface tag teams. And we've had Laredo Kid coming out with the Lucha Brothers the last 2 weeks with no mention of Death Triangle. Then tonight we get Death Triangle brought back. So it was just a lot of loose ends that kind of confused things a little bit for me while watching. They did fine, but I don't feel like it worked. I kind of got a little bit of the fart in church vibe from it by the time it was over. I was just confused.
I agree. And this just sets my mood for the night of like, I should be getting signed here pretty quick because there's plenty of guys on their roster that look absolutely like shit, worse than me, in worse fucking gear. And if Chucky P can stand up there in a throwback and look not intimidating at all, if Luther can be in the goddamn ring looking the way he does, if the guy who challenged Darby Allin can get a fucking shot with some volleyball knee pads from Dick's Sporting Goods with no fucking covers on them and get on TV, I'm a goddamn shoo-in at this point. Like it's just like, I don't know how guys can look half-assed like shit, stand next to Trent, and Trent not go, bro, you got to fucking get on the Florida water or something, B12, because there's no intimidation factor there at all with them and Cassidy. And especially when you look at Pac and know what Penta and Phoenix are capable of, holy fuck. Like, you know, who would even be interested in that feud? Penta and Phoenix and Pac should be able to beat the best friends in under 2 minutes with no problems whatsoever. But instead, it's going to be a spot fest, get your shit. And that's the other thing. We got any team of 3 now is a faction. So we got fucking,
that's one thing I pick up from not watching the gig. And I actually like watching wrestling when I haven't seen the show in a while, because I absolutely believe if you're putting on a good product, someone should be able to turn it on for the first time and have a sense of what's going on. One thing I picked up on is everybody has a group. If you're not in a group, you're fucked because everyone else is in a group. That's what it seemed like anyway.
So groups don't mean shit, really. And they split them up and they bring them back. And even groups with 7 or 8 people in them aren't the dominant group over the group of 3, and they don't even play to the numbers game. So it's just asinine, bro, of like these little hit squads of putting together, and it popped me. So you're like, and now Death Triangle's heel again. You fucking better be heel if your name is Death Triangle.
Here's the tragedy, I think, of it.
Unless you're an angry lesbian group or something that they got to get over. What the fuck?
And some may disagree. I feel like AEW probably from an athleticism and talent standpoint probably has one of the most talented, probably the most talented roster there is right now. But because they have so many stars and attractions and brands, for lack of a better word, it all kind of gets muddled together. Like instead of focusing on a handful and really letting them shine and allowing them to slowly get over time, they're trying to get everybody over at the same time. And unfortunately, when you do that, it kind of muddies the water a little bit. And I think that's the tragedy of it, is because they do have such a talented, great roster. And at least they're still turning heads. People are still paying attention. But I can't help but feel like how much more attention and how much more steam could they get if they were just slowing things down a little bit and focusing on just a handful of talents to really get over instead of trying to get everybody over.
Never going to happen, bud.
I totally agree with you there. And I'm a big AEW fan. It's my favorite wrestling program going, but you're right. And there's only but so much room at the top. So unfortunately, not everybody could be a top guy right now, but there's a way to focus on a few at a time, establish them, then get to the next few. And I mean, I'm not going to stand for you ever again besmirching the good name of Dr. Luther on this show.
Oh yeah. Go back and watch Jericho's 30-year match again.
Who's that?
Comes the inner circle and the crowd sings Judas. Jericho remarks that MJF, and now he's only 25 years old and he's already in the pineapple or pinnacle, but he wants it all right now. He should want to be better than Peter Avalon, Michael Nakazawa, etc. But he says that he listens to the critics and that after every promo, we would go backstage on social media to see how people thought he did. That's called being a mark. The reality is he'll never be better than Chris Jericho. He talks about Tully Blanchard and how he isn't the best mind in the wrestling business and he was only the 3rd best person in the 4 Horsemen. He says FTR was really good, but they're interchangeable. He knows they're really good, but he can't tell one from the other. As far as Sean Spears, he hasn't been good since he got fired from the Fed, and he continues making bad decisions by having a blonde mohawk in 2021. As for Wardlow, he's dumb as rocks. So he'll be fighting Shane McMahon soon. He wants to let them know that they're going to take them out. They're the new and improved inner circle, and they're going to make them bleed because they're going to challenge them to a blood and guts match, baby. And there was other things in there that were absolutely putrid. Jericho apologizing to the fans. Just, you could just feel that this whole plotty predicated promo is an apology for doing the wrong business. And I watched Daniel Bryan do this exact same thing from the finish from Fastlane. That was the wrong choice. And the next 2 weeks, they had to put a Band-Aid on a broken leg to try and get the story on the tracks that it should have been, doing the right finish. The Inner Circle is now baby faces out of nowhere and have to do this cheese ball promo to try and sell it and get it all over, dude. This was Khan trying to be like, oh, it'll be back on point if you say this, that, or the other, and Jericho tries to make it what it is. But again, if the right business was done out of the gate, it would have been awesome. One thing we missed in the beginning, I did like when they all rolled up in the cars, so that was a cool shot.
Yes, that was a great way to open.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't out of nowhere. I mean, they've been doing the babyface thing for about a month now. I see your point, but I know by now, just from watching the show, that they are baby faces. And you left out one important part of the promo. My jerk off friend was said at least 5 times.
My jerk off friend, it's funny enough. That was good stuff. Actually, Hammer hit me up on chat. That popped Hammer, my jerk off.
I also feel like at some point in this feud, a swirly on MJF is going to have to happen.
Well, they're trying to get
last week.
Swirly.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he put that over because, they blew it off. Beast, they just put together the Pinnacle, which is the new heel faction. That's the new 4 Horsemen or whatever, right? They got heat that first week and the second week. The third week in the fucking dressing room, the Inner Circle was waiting in a bathroom, came out, put MJF's head through a fucking Pepsi fucking glass. They beat the shit out of them all and gave MJF a swirly. So the heels in 2 weeks from forming the group all got retributed and got revenged on, and they beat the fuck out of them, left the heels laying. Now Jericho does an apology promo to like the fans that try and stay babyface, and that's why I think the Mike Tyson shit played in.
Gotcha. Well, I think my bias is I haven't seen Jericho perform in a long time. So as someone, again, coming into this for the first time and seeing him cut a promo, I enjoyed it. But I'll also admit I was excited for Jericho coming out because I know he's a great performer. And I thought the promo was good. But hearing the context of it does, I guess give a different connotation a little bit. I did like when he called out the production guys because he noticed, I guess, the fans on the side couldn't read Sammy Guevara's cards, and he had to call for he's like, y'all can't see this, can you? And it brought me back to my OVW days whenever shit got fucked up. But good for him for having the wherewithal to say, hey, half the audience doesn't know what the fuck's going on, and for calling that out, and they fixed it, pretty quickly.
I got triggered by one part of the promo because I'm just like, what the fuck? Why is this in all of wrestling right now? It's stupid. Where Jericho's talking about his chemistry teacher and he goes, I was stupid in chemistry, but I knew wrestling. I'm like, why would you fucking make yourself say you're stupid? And then I'm thinking about the Braun Strowman and Shane thing. I'm like, why are we talking about high school and fucking junior high classes on a wrestling show? Who gives a shit? Like, it's just the worst and dumbest content that you could put out there to try and get guys over as babyface. Oh, I love him. He sucked in chemistry. I did too. What the fuck, bro?
I think he was just riffing and kind of being classic Jericho.
That was not.
I love this promo. There were a couple things I would have changed, but I thought it was a really good promo, and it brought me back into the show. The first couple segments, as being a loyal viewer, the first couple segments had me down. But after Jericho, I was like, all right, we're back on track. Let's see what happens now.
And I agree with that. That was the first part of the show that I felt like it drew me back in to pay attention again.
Well, even at his worst promo, he's going to be 10 times better than everybody else on the show.
Oh, true.
He's fucking Jericho. Christian Cage is backstage and says that he was exhausted with his match last week, but he loved every second of it. I agree, Beast. That's a match you should watch. Last week's opener with Kazarian and Christian. Yeah. He says that it was the first step in taking back what was taken from him 7 years ago. That was strange. Christian is interrupted by Taz, brother, who says he admires him going, and he's going to get right to the point. He wants to get to him where he can be, and frankly, he'd love in having him in Team Taz. Says sleep on it, he'll connect with another time. This was a little strange, but apparently in the jail yard that is AEW, Beast, you got to be in a fucking group.
aside from the promo, I thought it was interesting that they went from having the arena sound to having the closed off sound. But there's a part of me that feels like I almost wish they would have kept it with the arena sound. So if anything, you kind of get the crowd in the background. But then again, I know things can get muddled because of the background noise. I don't know if you all had a thought on that, on if they should have maintained with the arena sound or switch back to the closed sound. You know what I'm talking about?
Sure.
Yeah.
I think it was probably a pre-taped thing, and they just fucking have it in the can and they roll it. And that's, you'd think the Booker of the Year would have those things on his mind instead of talking to people on Twitter and YouTube who have 800 followers and getting the sound right. But what do I know?
No, I like Christian a lot. The segment was fine. The last thing I want to see him do is join Team Taz. However, I would love to see him work with Ricky Starks, and I'd like to see him work with Brian Cage.
My brain always goes to the comedy. I couldn't help but think that he agrees to join Team Taz, but only if Brian Cage gives up his last name. And he just has to be Brian. He has to be Brian from now on. That's it.
Brian.
And then Brian Pillman Jr. gets mad, and he's like, "Wait a minute, I'm Brian."
What the fuck? You're Pillman and Pillman
Jr.
We get Kong versus Godzilla match. Jurassic Express versus Bear Country. For some reason, this is billed as Kong versus Godzilla. I don't know if they have any of the promo money coming in, but have you watched, do they or not? Okay.
A promotional thing from TNT.
There was a lot. The write-up here is ugly match here, but Luchasaurus makes the pin to pick up the victory. This was an ugly match. Trying to do video game stupid spots that someone could easily have their career ended on. There was one point where Big Bear #1's got fucking Jungle Boy on in a power bomb position, and Luchasaurus was supposed to jump off, and he was going to catch Luchasaurus in a crossbody too. Drops him, almost blows his fucking knee out. Lucha's got to sell because now we're rotten fully, and then hit the kid with one. Fucking Jungle Boy's doing springboard reverse fucking DDTs on a guy 7 times his size. Just absolutely phony shit. There was a lot of botches and just bad strikes in this. Overbooked. This is a big problem, Beast. Guys like Bear Country, they should be going over strong. This is kind of like their debut here, so they should be going over with double tag move in 3 to 4 minutes after they neutralize Luchasaurus, get the little man, and fucking jack him up 1, 2, 3. You've been in this spot, but instead they work 50-50, do a bunch of video game bullshit that nobody can do, and then they botch it on TV. And everybody looks rotten by the time we fucking are 3 minutes into an 8-minute match that should only be 4 minutes.
And all that aside from going back to the spot you were talking about where he was supposed to catch Luchasaurus, I was actually relieved that the catch didn't happen because immediately I had a flashback to, I think you were there, Susan. I don't know if you were there, Pops, when Paradise Jimmy jumped over the top onto Ben Woods on the outside. He blew out both his quads. Because you're only so much force the body can take. I mean, how do you strengthen your quad tendons? You can't. your ligaments and your tendons are however they literally have a certain amount of strength. It's like when you tug a war on a rope with so many people, it breaks. And same thing. That's that much size and mass. I almost was scared for him catching him because I feel like if he caught him, that very likely he could have blown out his legs.
So let's say what the greater psychology is of doing that and calling that spot. Why would they call that?
None.
It's cool.
There is no
They're
psychology.
marks for themselves in the indies and bringing this bullshit, unsafe wrestling through our doors. And they get on TV, try and normalize it in their minds like, yeah, I can do that. Sure, I can catch Luchasaurus 6'6", 300 pounds while the fucking 200 pounders. No, you don't need to, and you don't know how to protect your size. You don't know how to get over, and now everybody's in a dangerous spot and looks fucking stupid, Indian amateur, because we said in the back, yeah, we could do it, instead of just knowing what the biz is. The biz is getting the big bears over. How do big heel bears get the fuck over? Take out the dinosaur early, kill the fucking kid, go home. Not these stupid get your shit in 50-50 fucking spots. That shows they have no idea what they're doing on this TV show right now and needing to get a win right here. And they don't even get the win. The Bears go under. The fucking dinosaur beats them. So the new big heel tag team is already fucking buried out of the gate. Mwah. It's an A+. It's an A year. I would rate this year an A.
They're not even heels.
Oh,
So let's go back.
The fucking dinosaur kids, they're the heels.
Go ahead, Ted, and then I'll jump in.
Well, not that it justifies what they did, because I agree with you. I think they could have got much more mileage over doing less and maybe picked one big spot that they could have worked up to. But to their, I guess, defense, when you watch the AEW program and see how a lot of the guys work, and then this is your opportunity to make your debut, I actually, from what they've seen and been educated on the program, I felt like they just tried to step up and do what they've been seeing this whole time of how much can they elevate, and do these big crazy spots. And I think really it's going to be up to someone or a group of wrestlers actually getting in there and not doing that, but showing that you can get more out of that and taking the time to teach that. Will it ever happen? I don't know. But I think based on what they've been educated as wrestlers or as fans, that is what they've come to expect from that product. And they're just trying to make themselves shine and look like they belong amongst the other people that are doing that type of wrestling.
I wouldn't want to sit in the cut with everybody doing 12 to 15 minutes. I'd want to win in 4 minutes and show that I'm different, better, faster. Took you 12 minutes to beat a guy. I did it in 4.
All right. And on an indie show, I would do the same thing. If someone before me did a bunch of spots, I'd say, okay, we're going to do hardly any. And then you're going to get knocked out over one thing. And everyone's going to think that's real because holy shit, they did a million things and they didn't get hurt, but they did one thing. I must have really hurt. You know what I mean? Like that's where
just watching your match versus fucking Shiloh and his new partner versus watching that, bro. It's not even a comparison in my mind. It makes me ill. It makes me ill to fucking think that these guys are on here doing the art and people are at home watching it thinking that's the way it is. And they're not even in the same ball. They're hitting off a T-ball tees still, bro. You're fucking hitting home runs off of Nolan Ryan.
I will say mobile homers against the Jurassic Express would be a very fun story. I'm even more excited about doing pre-tapes really than actually working in the ring.
But they would learn so much so fast on how to work their gimmick the right way. That's what's needed.
What went wrong with the match obviously started with the weird catch. Arguably it started when Jungle Boy did the dives. And the Bears took a bump before the first minute of the match had concluded. But let's just talk about the dive for a second. So that could have made sense if it was Marco Stunt and Jungle Boy.
I agree.
I could totally catching Marco on that. Bam, cool, great, do the spot. But if you're just looking at Lucha as a trained worker, as all of us are, there is no way in your mind that you can 100% guarantee that you're going to catch Luchasaurus. I mean, I'm strong as fuck. I would not catch you off the second rope.
I wouldn't expect you to. Right? If I said, Sil, I'm going to fucking come off the second, fucking catch me, you better laugh in my face and go, dude, you are way too high to be wrestling right now.
Yeah, I would say no. And unfortunately, that set an ugly tone. The match got better as it progressed. The Bears looked good. The Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy did some cool things. And it wasn't bad. The back end, I got into it. But because we had that shit at the beginning and we had the Bears getting bumped early, it was just stuff that wasn't needed. I taught a class yesterday about wasted motion, how you don't waste it. Make everything mean something. And then I watched this match. And that was the first thing that popped in mind. I was like, man, if they just would have kept the beginning simple, the crowd would have been totally into them when they did their big spots later. Mm-hmm. Do all the fucking spots. I don't care. But just make it at the right time and have a build.
I think the reason I get upset about this is I see money written on all these guys on both sides.
The Bears were good. They impressed me.
Yeah, and neither of them know how to get each other over or protect themselves or protect their size because they're marking out for, like you said, this AEW style. They should be doing the opposite of all of that, bro. And they obviously can't do that style as it was proven tonight out of the gate.
Ben, I think what were the best 2 matches over the last month of AEW?
Oh, Christian Cage and Kaz. And the
second one?
Probably Matt Sydal and Omega.
Did they do any of that shit?
No, they didn't. And then look what we were back. Look what we were back to in the main tonight with Omega and those guys in there. Back to a spot fest.
Why can't we take notes? I mean, when we see these great matches by great wrestlers, Omega and Sydal, 2 great modern wrestlers, why aren't people taking notes and saying, fuck, Why don't we do more of this?
Because it's you and I, and it's Cornette, and maybe one or two others who fucking put it over and say, now that's how you do it. But then the next week, they're right back to it. The only way we can is if we fucking get hired as agents or consultants. And even then, as an agent, you're going to go, it's just your one seg. Like we need to be like, how do you get to be the big brother where, all right, let me actually teach you. And here on the fucking chalkboard, this is why you don't do that. That's what needs to be done. And they have their own wrestling school, and it's run by QT Marshall, who says that Cody's mantra of do the work should actually be have someone else do it for you. Ever since he's been his best friend, he's been doing everything for him when Cody was amounting to nothing. But when he left WWE, he knew what he had to do, which is to go to the indies, surround himself with vanilla midgets to make himself a star that he never could be otherwise. But the nightmare factor isn't Cody's anymore. He introduces the three surrounding men. And it looks like QT can cut a good promo. Yeah, QT did cut a good promo here, and even past. Yeah, the setup was a little phony, and they missed the paint bucket shot on the big skull thing. That popped me. That was a good DCW. Oh, I wish you would have hit it dead center and it was off to the left. But when you're throwing paint, you only get one take on that, so it made me laugh. I love that shit. But yeah, this was all right. But I surround myself with men. And I'm thinking to myself, men that none of us have any clue who they are. All of them have money written on them, but we got to build guys individually. But Man Beast, if you're going to show up in AEW, you better show up with a fucking crew.
Well, that's why I joined up with you guys. We're just going to walk on in, and we already got our own group, and say we're in. We got a group. They're like, all right,
we even
walking by yourself. They know you're not part of them.
Oh, I like that.
At least he told us who these guys were. I like the promo, and I like that finally they at least explained a little bit about who the extra guys are. So I hope they keep doing that.
And I had no idea who QT Marshall was prior to this. This told me exactly who he was, what his intentions were, and what is going to culminate in the future. So I thought this was a good piece of business right here.
I liked when
everything was done right.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I like when he shit on Dustin too. That was good. You know, but they're going to need to get more heat. I think the guy in the back who looks like Brewski is the star, to be honest with you. Like they tried to highlight the British guy, and maybe he'll impress. I don't know much about him, but apparently he's got, pretty household name amongst his crew over there. Good on him. But that guy in the back, I see money on big time. Camarado.
They need to bring in Agata Brewski.
Dude,
I'd like to see that. He actually would be good with the Orange Cassidy guy, because you have like the crazy jazzed up guy, and then the calm, cool collected guy. That's just off the top of my head.
Dude, Brewski, fucking, there was so much money written on him. How did he not fucking get over at NXT? Just like every week, Tony Schiavone says it's Sting, and I know this is gonna piss Sel off, because once again, before Sting can even say anything, he's interrupted by Jake the Snake, who's one crazy son of a bitch. And Lance Archer comes out, says AEW has an agenda, we keep booking him in mains, and then he goes away. Main goes away, fought Moxley, goes away, main event after main event, and now it's his time. Sting takes the mic and agrees with him, says that he's a main event guy and maybe he deserves to go for the world title again. So he says, go do it and make it happen. He also tells him to shut the fuck up and listen more than he speaks. But I popped huge now, because this is, I think, the 13th time where Sting in a row is supposed to have a promo, and he's been interrupted, and Silvio absolutely loves that, Man Beast.
Yeah, that's a favorite thing.
It's just, can't get enough of it, lives for it. Will not stop interrupting.
I think at this point, they're just fucking with me. Why they would do it a 13th time, I don't know. Everybody knows how I feel about it. I love Sting. He's a fucking legend. I like Taz. I think Archer has a good upside. I love Jake. But stop already. How can you do the same segment every single week with just a slight deviation and expect it to be good and expect people to care? It boggles my mind. Imagine me doing the same promo against Hameen for 3 months of TV. Come on, it's Sting. It's fucking Sting. Give him something good, for the love of God. Poor fucking Sting. And Shivani out there, Uncle Tony, standing like a fucking jack off, trying to put the thing over, make it work, losing his credibility. Jake doing some lines, trying to get heat. And then Sting kind of baby faces Archer. He's like, you want to be the top guy? Get it. Which is all fine words, but why are these people interacting?
Where's the heat? There's no heat.
This is when I switched to NXT.
This was so I didn't have the same visceral reaction because this was the first time I've seen this segment.
Yeah. Now imagine you've seen this seg 13 times in a row.
But with that being said, my grievance with it was more so we just had a segment where the business was done clearly. We knew what was going on. Here it was. I didn't know who is this. It's either every piece of business should either get somebody over, get somebody heat, or build towards some kind of future attraction or event. And I wasn't able to extrapolate any of that from this. I didn't feel any really. Jake and Archer, they just came out in rabble rouse. It's not really heat. Sting didn't really get over. Archer didn't really get over. And what are we building towards? Some kind of ambiguous, one day he's going to find the way to be a star. It's like, I didn't see a clear piece of business coming out of it other than these guys have some kind of relationship, but I have no clue what that is.
Neither do they, because this exact thing, exact segment happened last week.
Maybe it's going to happen every week, and then the last week he'll get to finish the promo.
On a positive note, I was so pissed I changed to NXT for the first time in 2 years. Yeah. But goddamn, Walter and Tommaso Ciampa had a fucking banger last night.
Yeah, I gotta watch it.
You guys saw it?
No, I didn't.
Oh my god, brutal, sick, stiff.
I saw people fucking putting it over though. So
dude, Walter's the greatest wrestler on earth right now.
Well, he kicked package right in his fucking face. Of course, he's great.
He deserves it.
He's my most over guy.
This medication may cause agitation. Fucking kick package.
Sting.
Get out of here.
Sting. Who do you hate more, package skateboarding or Sting getting it? I got him, beast.
I like Sting. I just don't like the situation he's forced to be in.
Jericho's getting interviewed in the back, but he's immediately attacked by the Pinnacle. He's taken out to the ring, and FTR crush him with a spike pile driver. Might as well. The camera is shown backstage, and looks like the Inner Circle is locked in their dressing room. Well, Shivani's like, the door is nailed shut, or no, JR said that or whatever, and it's not. It just looks like you think they would have done something to make the door.
They took the handle off of the door or something like that.
There was a handle on there.
It looked like they had broken the handle so it couldn't be opened.
Oh, that wasn't clear to me, and it looked stupid. It looked like a bunch of guys who couldn't get out. You can see the Inner Circle trying to break through the door with a bat. Well, actually, it was a chair. Maybe it's too late as Wardlow looks to pick up Jericho and send him through a table. As he does that, Mike Tyson is here, and Mike Tyson loses the battle with his T-shirt, and that was awesome as he tries to rip it off, and it gets handcuffed around his waist once again, El Barone style. He comes out, and the Pinnacle leaves the ring, except Shawn Spears doesn't get away. Tyson starts to pummel Spears with left and right hands. He does get him in the corner, and I think Spears took 2 or 3 real body shots from Mike Tyson, and then tries to mount him and get some phony Dark Order punches in, but I think he fucking punched him for him.
No, that was great, dude. That was no Dark Order punches. That was great.
So Spears, he's pissing blood today, but before the rest of the Inner Circle comes out to make sure the Pinnacle doesn't get in the ring, afterwards Jericho gets up and hugs Mike Tyson. They whisper to each other, and the
boys
baby
ran out. The
Inner Circle runs out and runs them off, which we also had, in that earlier Jericho thing, the apologist stuff and the jokes trying to get Sammy Guevara over. So all that business that they wanted to do still gone after whatever happened with Impact and him walking out and just trying to, get things back on track here. That's why I don't like apologist promos like this that have to make up for the wrong business.
Did we cover the Darby Allin match?
That's
no, you're right. I mean, they had the order.
It's not in the notes.
We'll cover that.
The local guy. We can go back and do that right after this.
Darby Allin versus JD Drake.
Yeah.
And JD was with my boy, the Hollywood hunk, Ryan Nemeth, and Caesar Bononi. I like this, man. This was a pretty good little match.
And I did pop for the Ryan Nemeth Sting confrontation. I probably was the only one that was hoping for it, but immediately I thought, this is the match I want to see. Ryan Nemeth and Sting. Just for the promos, just for Ryan talking about why did he wear face paint? He's probably ugly. He doesn't look like me. You know, I can see him saying shit like that.
Dude, Nemeth killed it. He made that segment in 30 seconds.
Yeah, I liked. I seen this guy is like every big man hoss at every indie I work. I don't know this dude personally, but he carried it off, bro. Like a lot of guys would be shitting in their pants at this spot. You know what I mean? And Darby sold for him, and he did his shit well in the corner, used his size well. Big man move. There's things though that are indie that when you're on TV and you got to get to it that they forget about selling. That fucking Vader moonsault where it was so awesome. But dude, 10 seconds later, not even 8 seconds later, he's right up on the second turnbuckle for the next spot. That's the fucking move on this. Boom, he hits his stomach. He's selling. Darby sees that, could run up, hit the fucking coffin drop right there. And then I wouldn't even go for the pin. I'd overbook it. I'd have him roll over the other way, still hurting. Darby runs up the other one, hits him with a second one. It takes two to beat the big man. After that, but instead we had to get our shit in, and he did that. That's the most awesome thing, that Hugh Morris size of a guy doing that shit, bro. That's the whole fucking sell right there into the finish, as far as I'm concerned. Am I wrong off of that, guys, or what?
No, and because essentially what I gathered from the finish is a big guy jumping on a little guy only gets a 2 count, but a little guy jumping on a big guy can win a match. Like that's the part I was like, I didn't. Because I agree, I thought the selling was on point, except for them. Like when they did sell, it was on point. Yeah. But then there was things where they would no sell or go into it, and the kickouts as well. Like I felt like the JD guy didn't do himself any favors, because now when he hits someone from the top rope, I don't care who it is. I don't think he's going to win with it, because the guy half his size was able to kick out on 2. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Versus I like your way of him missing it, and then that being the ability for Darby Allin to take advantage.
Yeah,
as the fight from underneath.
That register moment of Darby sees that this is his chance. He's got to hustle to get up to the top rope while the dude's in position on the sell. Boom, get him to sell the other side and fucking jump right over him, go up the other way. You have to factor in overness too, right? So like you guys know I do the top rope elbow. You've both taken it. So let's say one example, let's say you're just an underneath guy. You're your size, I'm mine, but you're not established. If you were to splash me or whatever and I kicked out, nobody would be incredibly surprised because we haven't established you. You know what I mean? Right. So it depends on who you're in there with. Now, if somebody like maybe Luchasaurus or Wardlow did that and Darby kicked out, everybody'd be like, what the fuck? Why the hell would they do that? But because Drake's not established yet, I think they can. Man, I gotta disagree with that. Fuck, that kills me.
Undertaker sells for Shawn Michaels, who's 5'10" and 190 pounds, but he sells at the right time.
But Taker, if he's gonna hit a splash on Michaels, that's got to be it, because
he kicked out of his tombstone 4 times.
All you got to do is roll the inside and move. Do the threat of violence. I think that, maybe in a main event super, card like that, maybe, but I think them burying the guy's size is burying the guy's size. It's not that. Just move. Just get out of the way. Fucking
think about this. I mean, try to ride on my side for a minute. All right. Let's say I'm the over guy. You're there to get me more over, right? And you want to splash me, and I kick out of it. I'd be like, okay, sure. Yeah, as long as I knew you could do it safe, because I'm going to look great when I kick out of the 280-pound splash.
I'm not going to do it because
I'm the other guy's in. I wouldn't put yourself in the other shoes, not your shoes. Like
if
Wardlow wanted you to kick out of his splash.
You're the size of Darby. I'm the size of him. I'm not going to fucking do a splash on you and go, kick out of this. I'm going to fucking that's going to be it. So if I'm going to do the splash, I'm going to be like, I'm coming with the splash. You roll in. I'll take myself out so you can get the fuck up, because you're going to be alive either way. Why would I bury my own shit so you can be up here in a minute?
What if Wardlow told you he would splash you and wanted you to kick out?
I'm not the little guy.
In this case, you are against Wardlow.
No, I'm the same size as Wardlow.
All right, Big Show.
No. Yeah, Big Show. There you go.
I'm 6'3", bro. Fucking Wardlow's
Okay.
not bigger than me.
If Big Show said, kick out of my splash, would you do it?
No. I go, that's dumb as shit.
I would kick out of Big Show's splash in a heartbeat.
Not me, bro. Fuck that. And I'm a baby
I kick
face.
out on 1.5. One.
Nah, dude. Why
Because you never worked babyface. I mean, you don't get the babyface part. You're only a heel.
Well, babyfaces, we were told babyfaces are stupid and heels lead. We have to fucking tell them what to do because they just want to get their shit in to shine on ridiculous fucking things like that.
You think
Hitting
only
a
like
big
a
man
heel?
twice your size, hitting a splash and kicking out is not warrior spirit. That is dumb psychology.
You think everything in wrestling has to make sense? Guys can't bury each other.
Yeah. We can either make
comedy.
sense and make it awesome, or we can not and go, it's the evolution of the business. Let's fucking see which choice is going to be villain.
He doesn't like super kicks. He hates drop kicks.
I love
kick.
It was clear. It was clear in this match that Darby Allin is what they were selling, and so to a certain point, because like for instance, he had a sick JD hit him with a really sick clothesline in the middle of it, and he kicked out. And the rip part of me is kind of like, but then I did set myself aside, and said okay, but that's okay in this instance because he's the fight from underneath babyface. The grievance I have is more so the finish is the little guy jumping on the big guy for the win. But just a minute earlier, even I feel like a kid watching and not knowing anything about wrestling, if he sees the big guy jump on the little guy and kick out, then you see the other thing happen. I feel like that almost takes you out of the reality of it because it's more so the visual. And I think if the finish was different, maybe that could have been more okay. But when you see, the opposite, it's just basic physics to me as far as, if the little guy kicks out of the big guy jumping on him, but not the other way around, then what?
It's as easy as this. If I'm working both of you guys, and Beast, you fought the biggest of the big.
I've gotten splashed by roadkill.
No, here's how I'm going to say it with the matches. Me 3 spots, huck you in for the big one. Here I come. It's just this. Hit whatever. My clothesline. Boom, you sell. I'll pick you up, fucking slam you, put you in the corner upside down. You do the bump into the tree of woe where I'm going to come with the Kevin Owens roll. When I fucking do that, I've already talked too much shit and yah-alad too much. Turn around, come in. You move. I take myself out. We're both down selling. You're up first. Get one little thing on me. I catch you. I'm too big. Outpower you. Slam you down. I get 3 more things. Set you up in the corner for the next one. You're going to fucking move on that because I'm stupid and I hit the post this time. Like, it's that easy back and forth where the first 3 moves show my power. The 4th one is the setup, but my fucking hubris fucking cost me the final wah to keep you alive until the fucking very end when I do the big moonsault, which is your chance to get up and hit your fucking shit. And that time I don't kick out.
All right. That's the finish for our next match.
Yep. I agree with you. I agree with you. JD Drake should not have covered after the splash, but I do like getting wound up when we debate these.
Fuck you. All right. We get the Bunny versus Ty Conti. Bunny came out hot, was talking shit to the. I liked it. I thought Cherry showed awesome fucking heel heat here, and the commentary gave them something to work with. We had some real moments happening there, kind of like when I would talk shit to Baltimore Olin or you, and you guys had a whatever the fuck you wanted to do in that moment was going to be a real response. Like I really liked that. I thought this was probably one of the best matches of the night because I really liked Ty Conti's selling in this. She sold really great too. There's a couple NXT things like the shocked face. She kicked out. Like we gotta cut back on that fucking cookie cutter, bullshit that they taught there and make it more real.
I've put a ban on that at the Side Dojo during training. No one's allowed to do the sit on the butt sell in shock or the surprise face.
Well, she's got a butt to sit on.
For us, nobody's allowed to do the one arm kick out. You got to kick out for real.
Oh, you got to fucking boom. You can't slide one. Oh, that's interesting. Why? Just
we educated them at the end of the match in the main event. That's okay, but for our purposes in our class, always kick out strong unless you're told otherwise.
Okay.
Beast,
I like it.
Only because it's a build. If you kick out strong in the beginning and then at the very end, say it's the end of a show, end of a match, then you get the desperation shoulder up. That's a bigger moment than if you see every match where they're kicking out like that with the desperation shoulder up. Then it means nothing. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, I understand.
Beast, do you remember when Gilbert was new, Gilbert Corsi, and he had won
He's
the
still
Emmy,
new.
his first Emmys?
Yes,
When we
I do.
like how Hameen was talking about creating organic moments with the commentators, I would do something different when I was a heel every week to see how I'd get them to react. And I came out with the manila envelope one day with a signed photo of myself without telling him and handed it to Gilbert. And on the photo was written, "Dear Gilbert, there are no Emmys for kindness." And just the response on his face.
That's
And
awesome.
I'm an asshole heel, so it makes no sense. But that's funny.
I love surprising Gilbert because he's one of those people that feels like he has to know everything that's going to happen beforehand, like he wants to know so he can be ready to react to it. Real quick, but we had Shannon the Dude had a match, and so backstage I told him, I was like, what you need to do is come out in a jumpsuit and then jump on the desk and rip it off and have like bikini style wrestling trunks on right in front of Gilbert. And he did, and it was one of the funniest things. Like Gilbert's like in shock looking at his balls right in front of his face. It was awesome.
Send me a clip.
That's the fun stuff. Pretty competitive match here. Hikaru Shida is out there to observe. The match descends into chaos quickly, and Bunny tries to use the distraction on the outside from the inner circle, and Butcher and Blade to grab a kendo stick. Shida grabs it out of her hands, which allows Conti to deliver the hammerlock DDT to pick up the victory here. This is not really the best write-up because this was actually good back and forth where Ty Conti did what Rip would teach us. If you're going over, give the heel 70-80% of the match so it looks like you beat somebody when you're coming back from underneath. And I really think Cherry has improved. She was good on the Indies in 2CW, don't get me wrong, but she's elevated her game next level, and she's starting to get it a lot more, and especially for someone who's mainly, the valet or the manager misdirection spot. It's tough to stay as ring sharp as you can, but I thought she looked very sharp in this as a heel and got good heat on Ty Conti, and Ty Conti sold away, which is a lot of things. What that means is selling to the next turnbuckle or down the ropes so the heel has to come get you. A lot of amateur indie guys just take a shot and they register it and they stand right there waiting for the next one to come, and that looks super phony. Not Ty Conti. She was actually selling away, and I thought that was impressive.
And if you guys don't know the reason why we sell away, if I'm the baby face and Hameen just hit me and I just registered and look at him, I look like an ass because I'm not trying to fight back or attack him. So the art of selling away is when you get hit, you put yourself in a position where there's no way for you to attack your opponent, but they can come and stalk you. It's one of the arts in pro wrestling that I teach like the gospel here at Side Dojo.
Stalking for a heel is essential. And when you hear people say slow it down, that's the number one way to slow it down in a match, because otherwise they're going spot to spot and just ping ponging around. But sell away means I've got to take 4 or 5 more steps. Well, that's possibly 5 or 6 more seconds on our match. And if we're doing that in between everything, now we've really slowed it down to a pace where we have to do half as much and you're not getting blown up and you don't have to remember 95 things. Or when you're selling away, I can talk to you.
You're live here on Light the Fuse podcast.
Oh, what's good? Fuck, my bad for jumping in, but I was calling you to let you know I had some cash for you for the training that we've been doing. And out here kicking ass in Tampa, snapping necks and cashing checks, baby.
Beautiful. Hey, you got a big appearance this weekend at WrestleCon, I believe, and maybe something else?
I do, yeah. I am booked at a booth at WrestleCon this weekend with Matt Seidel. I'm not sure what our booth number is at the moment, but you can check in with me on Instagram at Bulletproof Troop to find out when that comes along, when I have a little bit more information. We'll be there all day, Friday and Saturday. And then this weekend, I just got booked, hot off the press. Your boy Bulletproof Troop will be doing combat sports analysis style commentary tonight on pay-per-view for Josh Barnett's Bloodsport. Catch it only on Fight TV.
Holy shit.
Wow.
Big
wow.
news. Good shit, man.
Big news. I'm excited. Going to be bringing a little bit more legitimacy to the most legit and hardest hitting brand in professional wrestling, Bloodsport. And we got a main event of Josh Barnett versus John Moxley. This
Holy shit
should be a banger.
Hell yeah. All right, buddy. Well, thanks for the update. I'm sure the listeners will be happy to tune in and watch you, and I'll hit you up shortly.
Bang, bang, Bulletproof Gang. Appreciate you guys.
All right, brother. Later.
There he is, Cage Theory, Hami Media Zone, and a guy on the rise under the tutelage of our own Chris Silvio and Matt Seidel. You guys, Bulletproof Blake Troop, check him out in both MMA and pro wrestling, and obviously tonight on Josh Barnett's Bloodsport. Very, very cool.
You know how many times I've instructed Troop to let somebody kick out of his offense?
0.
Bro, we do not do kickouts.
You sure? You want him to splash you off the second rope so you can kick out on one?
If I'm going over, sure.
Yeah, sure. But yeah, man, in the end, it's Ty Conti up. There was, some interesting pins from the bunny there, which looks like she's been working on her stretching a lot. That's what sells at home. I'm not going to say more than that.
I like this, man. And Ty Conti's getting really fucking good.
Yep.
Bunny is TV ready. I'm glad they're finally using her and these other experienced talents, the Serenas, the Thunder Rosas of the world. There's been a few weeks in a row of solid performances from the women's division, all started by Serena's entry and then the brutal lights out match with Thunder Rosa and Britt. Beast, if you haven't seen that match, go and watch it. It's so fucking good.
I will check that out. I thought this was my first time. Actually, I had seen Ty Conti. She wrestled Serena a little while ago, I believe. Is that correct?
Yep.
I think I watched that one with Rip. But it's the first time seeing the bunny, and I thought she had a lot of good potential. I would say my one, I guess, it's this is nitpicky. This isn't even necessarily a critique because she did really, really well. Is I could tell just from more, I guess, a nuanced eye that there were moments where she kind of dropped her face drop character because I think she was thinking of the next spot, but then she'd go right back into character, and it was easily missable. But something like that is just a small thing to, I'd say, more to work on, to always keep your face, and over time it just comes with practice and getting better. Like for instance, when she did the pie facing on Ty Conti, was like, come on. I mean, I feel like that was a moment for her to go, come on, and really, get into it versus, and it's understandable. I'm not saying it was bad by any means. In fact, it was very good. But more so just I'd like to get the nitpicky things in because I think everybody can grow. And so that was just one of the notes.
And that's what she would do best too. That's a moment for her where she would really get that over too. So yeah. And Mondo gave me that same note when I'm doing the Garvin stomp and shit. Like every one of those should be a YOLO, boom, taking fucking new something, else to like really get character over in that moment. But when you're thinking about oh shit, I got to do the flare bump off the top rope, my mind's in a different spot,
Then when you do the Garvin stomp, what parts of the body do you get?
Shoulder, hand, and then knee, or maybe hip, but knee and ankle.
Okay, good. I'm glad you do the hands. I do the hands also. Throw in a headshot too if you don't already.
I come around and do the Eddie Guerrero fucking turn on your face.
That a boy. I would kick out, by the way.
I know. I wouldn't even pin you there, so it doesn't matter. I just grab you.
I'd confuse you. I'd be like cover. And,
cover. Fuck you, and then I'd stomp you for real. Like, cover this. They left it out here, but probably one of the best promos of the night was Dr. Britt again backstage with Reba, and this was real talk, good stuff, in there where AEW is about you're the number 4 contender. It should be about ratings, merch sales, and star power draw, which is exactly what should make you in the main event, not some fucking it's going to be about wins and losses like we promised in a fucking ceremony in the goddamn parking lot of the arena a year ago, and that hasn't worked out for shit and is stupid. Now, that being said, we have the chance to cross the reality of shoot, bang, bang on wrestling of how it should be, and that dumb bullshit reality of wins and losses mattering, because it doesn't at all. It's about story, epic, and drama is what drives everything. She says, you're going to see me on Elevation, on Dark. Well, no, we're not, because no one watches that shit. Here's where they fly so close and they miss it, bro. They miss the tower. Fucking that if she was going to do it, she should be fighting 4 girls in one night on fucking AEW, and they should be easy ringers for her to go over and get heat on TV, to be like, Britt Baker beat 4 bitches in one night on AEW Dynamite. Not tune into Dark to watch me fight, fucking Maki Ito and go over on her, and then next week on Elevation I'm fighting the fucking mime chick and I'm going to beat her too. Nobody gives a fuck about that. The heat is her shitting on the fucking records and then cheating in a way where she's booked her own ringers, whether it's even Finger Poke of Doom. You know what I mean? To do that on TV, to then say fuck you to the stats that they wanted to go by and thought that was going to be, and her to end around it. So they have it, but they missed it. Am I wrong, Sil?
You're getting there, and I think they put Maki Ito in a box and shipped her back to OVW. Last I heard.
Well, I heard fucking Tozawa. They put her in Tozawa's, or what's his name, Kenta's fucking briefcase, and sent them both back.
There you go. Britt Baker promo was really great. I noticed Rebel has a new T-shirt too, so shout out to her. Getting her first T-shirt. Ray Phoenix has a dope T-shirt, by the way. We saw
that too. Very cool.
I love what Britt does. She's my favorite character on the show. Hollywood Hunk might be number 2. But what I did like, Hameen, was that this, to my knowledge, is the first time that any of the stars have encouraged you to watch Dark or Dark Elevation. Usually we'll hear such and such is on a 10-match win streak, and we're like, we haven't seen him win on TV once. They're referring to Dark. So I like the fact that Britt said, follow my journey here. And hopefully it works, and we'll see if more people tune in. But fucking Britt's money, and I like how she called that shit out. I'll watch her and Serena and Thunder Rosa all day.
I agree, but the chance to do heat on that, now she gets all heel wins on those shows, and then they do a package on AEW Dynamite to show all the heel wins and how she went over, and now she's in the number 1 contender spot. I'll allow that as a pass, but I think what that was just a plug to try and get people to tune into those shows, and then they won't do the right business to keep the heat on her the right way coming back.
Yeah, I can see your point.
Just because we've been burned by it before, Kenny Omega and the Good Briz versus the Young Biz and John Moxley in the main event in a 25-minute get your shit in fest. This kind of was rough on me still, because this is what the Bucks do well, these setup spots to shine. And the story they told was there with Omega and them flipping back and forth, only to have them reunite Bullet Club again at the end, which is kind of like, oh, okay. But what I didn't like is after we watched Omega versus Seidel, and we're back to this style, bro. Like, we get close to it, and then we just shut the door on it.
Because it's what the Bucks do. It's their thing. Remember, I was telling you last week, every week, let's have that one match, like the Bucks or Matt against Ray Phoenix, where they do that stuff. And then the rest of the show, we do some traditional pro wrestling, women's match, brawl, kind of mix it up, but give that one spot for all the fans that want to see all the things. Put it in that one spot.
They're good at what they do.
That's why I have a lot of respect for Omega now, because he's being vulnerable as a heel. If you notice in that match, Omega sold his balls off, especially at the end where he's prone to these 2 guys who are frankly much smaller than he is, and doesn't look like either of them could really beat him up. But he's doing a great job now as a heel, understanding that he's got to stop doing so much. Now, if he could just get his opponents to do a little less. But the match was fine. But what I liked much more was the story. I'm all about story. So I loved seeing that hesitation, or are they going to hit him? Are they not? Then when Moxley gets tagged in and gives Omega the paradigm shift, and we saw would the turn happen, the Bucks super kick him. The only thing I didn't like about the story is I thought the Bucks were too reluctant. Like, after they hit him already, it should have been an overt, all right, we're with you guys, and some kind of manliness or raw growl. They still seem kind of dejected all the way until the end. Like, do you want to fucking be in this group or not? Stop muddying the waters with all these storylines. It happens in all their programs, as good as they are, and as much as I like the Bucks. Same thing with FTR. We didn't know who was the babyface and heel. Show us, if you're gonna kick Moxley, act like a badass. Tell him to suck it. Like, did you catch that vibe too? I mean,
I did, yeah. The back and forth of "Are you okay?" But then they set him up for the buckshot or whatever the fuck it is next. You're like, "Oh, okay." Are you okay? Now take this triple gimmick because they're putting it over on there. Beast, 2 questions for you. I forgot this one back in the Ty Conti match. How do you feel about the female referees overacting on everything in that match? Aubrey, like going into business for herself, thinking that she's actually taking bumps. And then do you also think it's a rib when he did it twice in there when Gallows gets bipped off the apron and he comes down and does this bump on it when there's no reason to, because even if he was to hit the floor, he's still only at about waist high. Like, why does he go all the way down? Like, or is that just like the classic, I'm going to do this, brother, no muff. I'm not going to hurt myself. If anything, you should dip him off and fall back because that shit looks phony to me, but I think he does it just to say, fuck this.
Right. And for some reason, I can't recall that bump, but my guess is, he was just, that's the way he takes that particular bump and just chose to take it. The referee, actually, I didn't notice, but I know about it because Rip, I think every show that we do gets mad and goes off about it for at least 5 minutes. But at the same time, I can't say too much because when I first started refereeing, I would occasionally do that too, in part because I didn't really know what to do with my hands. But that is something that should be checked, and like someone needs to pull her aside and say, hey, you don't sell the moves. Like if you don't go to UFC and watch the fight and have the the official going, oh, ooh.
Yeah,
it would be entertaining to watch, but it would also make it not seem as
I'm watching it in the background, dude.
But it would make it not as legitimate if that were to happen.
Right.
And laughing.
He was out of position a lot. Like there was 2 like shoot her into the corner. I'm backing up. I'm coming. She's crossing right in the middle of them. When you got in the rhythm, she got trapped like 3 times in that match in between them when they were doing stuff. Instead of knowing to walk away when I'm coming at you, don't walk in fucking front of me and cut off my spot, dude. Like there's a lot there that Susie, I want you to watch that match again, and I want you to reenact her entire refereeing. Like just feel what your body feels like and doing her arm motions and how she does it. You will feel.
And while you're rewatching, also rewatch that Sting promo and try to imagine yourself as Sting.
Got him.
I mean, you know what I want to see, and you're probably not going to like this, but I encourage you to keep an open mind and try to embrace new things and new levels of kindness. I think that you're off the mark. I think Aubrey should go all the way on this. I think she should start actually taking bumps and shit. Like Amy and Sandow, you know what I mean? Like, she's
why not feed into it?
Double, so if someone gets backbreaker and if someone gets hip toss, she takes a foot bump. Counts.
What do we say? Commit to the bit, right? You can't be half pregnant. So if you're going to be rotten, you might as well go full on rotten and say, I really want to be a wrestler and I'll take bumps too to fucking do it and count it. Like
she has a wrestling poltergeist that follows her everywhere. It attacks her, but only when she referees.
That's it. Bro, like it's the overacting and the movements are so week in and week out. Like I'm just like, I'm not even watching until there's a pin attempt by Bunny, but like, like just watching her jump over and float over and I'm just like, God, it's so.
Maybe we should try that during some of these broadcasts. So like after you say something, I'll go, whoa. That'd be pretty cool.
I'm like Ted though, man. Like I don't realize this stuff unless Hameen points it out. So to a degree, that means she's partially doing her job because I don't notice her, but not doing it well enough because Hameen and Rip clearly noticed it.
So Rip gets so mad. He's always, it's fucking stupid and fucking embarrassing. That's what he always says.
It is, dude. And I can't believe talents who watch their shit aren't pulling her aside and going, you need to tune it way down in my match. The spotlight's on me. You need to be the ninja.
Oh, if I was the heel, I would turn around and be like, are you hurt? Did I hurt you?
Yeah.
And just kind of fuck with her.
Are you okay? Because it is at that level of bad, bro. So in the end, it's a too sweet reunion, though, fellas.
A hug. It was a hug reunion.
Hug reunion. Biz Cliz is back together, Briz, and they're going to be there for the Fearless Jack Bull Malibu Invitational Part 3.
Oh yeah, Ted. Before we get out of here, I know you're a feature, you're a staple on the Rip Rogers FR podcast. Briefly, could you tell us a little bit of what that's like sitting in the saddle with Rip for a podcast, especially when you know he's going to go off on something?
Yeah, so when I first started doing it, I would try to have an organized plan of how we would go through things, and I quickly learned that was not going to be the way to go for this podcast because Rip just goes off on different subjects. So instead, now I'll have a list of things that we might get to, but also knowing that it could easily, well, not could, it will absolutely deviate at some point into some other subject. I just don't know how long it's going to go, whether he's going to go off for 5 minutes or 20 minutes. So it's just that's kind of the fun part too, is Rip will just kind of go off the cusp. We did some fan mail a couple weeks ago, and Rip started, answering the questions nicely. And then after I asked like the third question, he goes, "How many fucking questions does this guy get? Fuck him! I don't want to answer anymore." And he turned on me.
Shock me. You can check out the FR podcast, patreon.com/Hami Media Group. Beast does a great job at trying to rein Hustler in as best you can, but you really can't. And none of the views on there are expressed by the man Beast himself, even though he's
much like this podcast.
Still trying to get gigs. Yeah, and then my views are my own as well. But both these guys are phenomenal coaches, and me, I'm a phenomenal asshole. And maybe somebody will listen someday and actually start applying the right logic to things to book your stars like Mike Tyson properly. Maybe have Shaq do a follow-up. We always can have a stand-in for your wife if she gets pregnant. We need another one to do the exact same gimmick. But if you're an indie worker, hey, we'll give you a TNT title shot. That's what AEW is all about, with being elite, everybody. And Sting, you're not that good on the promo, bro. We're going to take your mic time away. So, Sil, what's going on in WrestleMania week down there? You selling B12 and Florida water on the highway? What's up?
I'm unfortunately too busy this weekend. My girl, Genevieve Muscles, aka Genocide, she's got 2 matches Friday night. I'm going to be in the corner for those. We got WrestleCon on Saturday all day, and then hopefully Sunday I can hit the beach. If you want to follow me on social media, think again. But you can catch me every single Thursday here on Light Diffuse Podcast. If you want to come train over here at the World Class Side Dojo, just shoot me a message on Messenger under Chris Silvio, and I'll be happy to get you set up. If you really want this business, you want to learn it right and have the connects to every major promotion currently in the world, hit up your boys. Side Dojo.
Yeah, man. Great stuff going on over there. And as we said, best match of this year so far, probably Omega and Seidel in there. And you can learn from Matt Seidel and go catch Bulletproof Blake Troop, obviously, again tonight. On tomorrow night, Josh Barnett's Blood Sport. He'll be that's a great gig for him, and he'll be there with Maddie at WrestleCon as well. Beast
Genocide's going to be on Fight TV tomorrow, and Title Match Wrestling Network. She'll be against Viperous, I believe, at midnight for Ladies Night Out, and at 8 p.m. for GCW. We Run This Town. Nice. Very good. Booked, baby. Booked. I like that. Bad Beaster Bunny, what are you doing this weekend, man? Watch the show? I'm sure I'll catch Mania at some point. My wife wrote me into, we got a murder mystery dinner gimmick, but I'm actually looking forward to that. That'll be fun. Choose murder. Okay, you got it. Choose Denver. And obviously, I can't vouch for Susio enough. If you're anywhere close to Florida, Georgia, or really, no matter where you are, go and move to Florida. There's a bunch of opportunities there. In fact, I'll probably be sending some people your way whenever they're ready. And of course, if you're closer to our area, I'm glad to work with you as well. Shallow and myself are teaching across the bridge. We don't necessarily have a dojo we're doing as part of the Grindhouse Trading Academy they got there, but trying to teach these kids the right way. Actually, we have a kid right now that's blind. The first time I've ever taught a blind wrestler. And that's been interesting, trying to teach him, how to work his gimmick, because he was trained in the traditional way, but as I was trying to teach him, it's like, well, you're gonna have to do things a little bit different. No one believes that you're just gonna go and lock up with someone because you can't see them, so you're gonna have to do something different. We worked with them, and actually it was really interesting. We were able to come up with some really cool stuff. I'd say reach out to Crazy Steve, bro. I mean, absolutely. Well, Crazy Steve at least can see shadows and stuff. This guy can't see anything.
Well, I mean, there might be some strategies that help you as a professor that way to
True, absolutely.
Get his footwork so he understands it a little bit more. But that's awesome. I mean, two great coaches right here, guys. Second generation coaches who've learned from the best, from Danny Davis, Dr. Tom Pritchard, Silvio, international everywhere, and Man Beast, the prodigy of Rip Rogers as well, you guys. So they're out here doing it where hopefully, if you're in the biz and you're listening to this, or you're on the show and your butt hurt about some way I say about some shit, maybe you should just take the note and try and apply it, see if it works. And if I'm wrong, then fuck me. Whatever. It can't be any worse than whatever he did the week before. But the reality is everything we try and do here is for the betterment of the business and to point out what mistakes it are in tape review. And, from the bookers to the agents to the performers, and even some of the audience members can take a note, and so can we. We don't always get it right. There's plenty of times when we look back and go, fuck, I wish I would have done this, that, or the other, and I'm not doing that again, or why didn't this work? And it's not just to be like, this sucks, but we'll get plenty of that, I'm sure, on Saturday and Sunday. So enjoy WrestleMania week, boys. Get them at Doc. Where can they find you online, Dr. Ted?
Ted the Man Beast, Instagram, Twitter, or if you have any rehab needs or coaching or whatever, you can reach me at bookthedoctor@gmail.com.
Excellent. And Chris Silvio, you can get him through me if you need them, infidels. But these are my OVW brothers. This is the trench we fight in, and this is the hill we die on. It's pro wrestling, infidels. It's time to light the fuse, WrestleMania style. Yo.